Microsoft has a lot of different security tools that can help you secure and manage the various different components of your infrastructure. However, there's one that I don't think gets enough love and attention out there in the wild, and that's Defender for Cloud Apps. Defender for Cloud Apps is a great way for you to secure all of your cloud resources, including Office 365 and other third-party solutions. So today, we're going to focus on Defender for Cloud Apps. Hey everybody, I'm Doug. This is Doug Does Tech. We're going to dive in specifically talking about where Defender for Cloud Apps fit into your security posture, as well as how to configure it, what are all the great features that it can use. Come on, let's dive in and we'll go ahead and walk through that. So like I said, Defender for Cloud Apps is a specific security tool for securing your cloud applications. This is a good architecture view of where it fits into the attack chain from Microsoft, right? We got edge protection, and that's Defender for Office. Defender for Endpoint is obviously endpoints. Defender for IoT, specific for manufacturing. You can come in and inspect those devices that you don't have a lot of security control planes around. Look for threats in that OT type network. Defender for Identity, all about managing the security of your Active Directory environment. Entra ID protection, brute force attempts attacking on identities in Microsoft Cloud. And then Defender for Cloud Apps, it's all of the settings and all of the actions that people take inside of your Office 365 environment. So chats, emails, applications, and it's for Microsoft security as well as some third-party security solutions out there. So it's a really great tool, and it really is going to round out your security posture that you have and the security tools that you have with Microsoft. Now, what can this product specifically do? Well, it's a lot of different things that they can take advantage of. This is a great high-level architecture view that Matt Sozman, formerly of Microsoft, put together, and I really like the way it just shows all the parts and pieces that this security product can do. I always like to call this the Swiss Army knife of security tools from Microsoft, because it can do a lot of different things. You just kind of have to look at different options that can help it. There's so many different options that you can do here. Microsoft even has a 20 different top 20 use cases document that I'll put in the links of how you can do different items, how you can do different security components of it. So I won't go through that list, but I'll put a link to it. You should check it out. Look at if there's any of those items that could help you out in your environment. This architecture here, I like it because it kind of highlights the top one. So a couple things to note here is that this is not just for Microsoft Cloud. You can integrate this with a bunch of different third-party solutions out there and help secure those. So great thing to note in there, it can integrate with Box, Salesforce, Okta, Workday, AWS, Google Suite, and a whole slew. Every year they add like 2 or 3 additional apps, so make sure you're always looking at that. I think they added Zendesk this year as an integration point. What can you do when you integrate it, right? So Shadow IT discovery and app control, big component of the solution. Discovering what cloud applications your end users are doing is important to securing those cloud applications. So you'll be able to come into the Shadow IT and figure out where people are going. Did someone sign up for a new marketing email service and they're putting your data into Monday.com or some other solution out there? You'll discover it and then you can take action on it if you need. Information protection. When you integrate this with your files discovery, you can discover where are the files stored in your environment. Is there anybody storing things that you don't want in there, like PSTs, OSTs, certificate, private keys, all those different type of things. You can discover where it is. Then you can also use this to secure it, right? So you can actually take action on it, not just discover, but take action. And then it also has a great DLP scanner built into it. This is a key component of the Purview solutions tie into third-party cloud. So if you have Box or Dropbox and you want to scan those with your existing Purview DLP policies, this is the tool that's going to make all that magic happen. Threat protection, this is the cornerstone of the solution. Got a lot of anomaly detection, malware scanner, and different ways to analyze your end users. So this is, hey, I have this scenario. I use this all the time to come in and think through, hey, I need to secure this. How do I detect XYZ? I'll use this tool first as my go-to of like discovering where that kind of stuff is. Security posture management, they've kind of taken this away and moved it to Defender for Cloud, which is different solution, similar name, which is very confusing, but it still has some nice tie-ins that you can do for securing, your IaaS environments, give you some security recommendations for those different ones. And then the final one I use a ton, is this session control policies, securing additional actions on your endpoints. You can come in and analyze those and then go in and basically take specific action. So for instance, maybe you want to give someone access to Salesforce, but you don't want them to download in whatever condition you can think of. Maybe they're on an unmanaged device or coming from a different code. You can come in, look at that and say, no, not allowed, or block them from downloading or block them from copying and paste. So great tool. Hope this gives you some ideas of where you can use it. Now let's talk about how to set it up. To set up the solution, we're going to come into security.microsoft.com, and then this is going to be the place that we're going to look at the solution and set it up. If you are using like a government tenant or something like that, you may have to go to portal.cloudappsecurity.com as the place to get that up and running. It should be going away as the original portal, but if you're in an older tenant or a government tenant, you might have to go to, again, portal.cloudappsecurity.com. Everybody else should be into security.microsoft, and you'll see on the left, the Cloud App section is all of the control planes, or the majority of the control planes for Defender for Cloud Apps. To set it up, pretty easy. We're just going to go to Settings and then Cloud Apps. And this is going to be where we manage all of the settings associated with it. First and most important setup procedure for this is you need to go and connect your apps in your environment. That's going to be under App Connectors here. And here you can see I have Microsoft 365 pre-set up. You may have it, you may not have it in here. You probably will if you're a newer tenant. If you're an older tenant, it might be blank. If it's not showing, you're just going to come into here and hit Connect an App, and you'll go down to Office 365 and add that in your environment. If you have this already in here, you need to do a double check of the security settings of this instance. In your case, in my case, this is pretty much mostly set up here. If you come into this and you just have this gray checkbox here, you need to basically connect up all of the audit logs and audit trails of Office 365 to Defender for Cloud Apps so that you can start managing it in here. In my case, you can see Files is disabled. And so before I go ahead and connect this up and fix that, I need to come back in and say, I'd like to do file monitoring scanning. So we're going to come in here. We'll just check this box and say, hey, I want to be able to scan for files. And then go back to App Connectors, edit your instance, and then hit Connect again. And this will go in and establish the connection to all of the Office 365. What's happening under the hood is that this is going to be an API connection to all of the different services that you set up. And you'd be able to come in and basically it's going to start ingesting the audit logs. It's going to go historically back into your Office 365 about 30 days or so, depending on the settings and whatever it is the latest option from Microsoft. And it might take a little bit for everything to start showing up in your environment. So if you don't see everything instantly, just give it a little bit of time so that it can do its job. Additionally, I want you to take a look at all these other apps that are in here to see if there's any that are interesting to you. The one I'm going to recommend most everybody set up is the Microsoft Azure environment. You probably have an Azure environment. You should also integrate this. That way you can see Office 365 audit logs and the Azure audit logs all in one concise view here. And so go ahead and do that, set that up. You just hit the connect to Azure environment and it should take it and put this in that list there, and then you can take advantage of it. Setup's not 100% done yet. You need to go in and tune a couple other things, and there's a lot of different settings you could adjust. I'm just going to show you the key ones that I like to turn on and that in this environment. So first one, Microsoft Information Protection. I want this on. I want this solution to be able to scan with my sensitivity labels in my environment, connecting it to the Purview solution. Go ahead and check that first box, uncheck that second one, and hit Save. Then you also need to be able to grant the permission on it. So you're just going to come in and establish a connection with the solution in here. You're going to need to do an OAuth connection to this, and it'll handle all of it yourself. You'll need global admin to do that. Next, files. We already talked about this one. We want to be able to look at files on our environment and scan that. We also want to be able to monitor our Azure security environment. Just come in, check that, and make sure that's enabled for you as well. Okay, let's scroll up here to Defender for Endpoint. Defender for Endpoint is that Shadow IT integration with your Defender for Endpoint. This is going to be where you're going to initially get the logs from all of your clients that are on workstations that are on Defender for Endpoint. And so this grayed out checkbox here is basically a secondary control plane of where you can enforce the blocking action. You can leave it blank for now. Before you go ahead and enable this, you need to check your Cloud App Catalog to make sure no one's accidentally blocked anything. Otherwise, you might get a lot of end users calling you saying, hey, I can no longer get to this app that I did. And that's because maybe someone accidentally came in and unsanctioned this before it had options. Also, you want to come in and enable user enrichment. That's just going to make the experience of investigating who are using the solution a little bit higher, a little better. So go ahead and check that box there. Let me see if there's any other key items that you're going to want to do to start with. And that should be roughly it for the starting app of this environment. The last one I do want you to do is come into the conditional access app control plane and add your user account to this list. It's got to be the UPN of your user account. It's kind of a wonky experience of putting it in, but you would just come into this and put like, type my email address wrong, and then essentially save it like that to pop that in. And so that's how you're going to set this up. You're going to have to click on that blue button below it. Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. That's how you set up the Defender for Cloud App solution. And next up is how to take advantage of it. So in the next couple of videos, I'll go through the different components of Defender for Cloud Apps and do a little bit of an analysis and how you can use it in your environment and where it could help you out. I hope this video helped you get started with the configs and the overview and how to set up the solution, how to think about the solution. And if you have more questions, if there's a technology piece that you want me to dive deeper in on, please let me know. Happy to hop in and make a video targeting whatever you need. So that's it for today. Good luck and stay safe out there.